Welcome back, everybody. It's Grisaia here, and yeah, let's continue playing.
今少し時間大丈夫かしら
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Hold on, bear with me. That's probably too loud. Okay.
読み終わった本を持ってきたのだけれど
Sure, appreciate it as always.
いいのよ私も読み終わった本の始末ができて楽だから
As anyone with a long-term reading habit is well aware, books pile up before you know it. That said, it's hard to just throw them away, and selling them is to a used bookstore feels disrespectful to the author. The ideal is to find another avid reader to dump them on. Incidentally, before I came, Sakaki apparently had been pushing the books she finished onto the library. By now, she's established her own private shelf in there, full of pleasure reads. Most likely, she spotted me by coincidence as she was carrying her books there. Figures she could save herself the walk. Heavy, right? Here. Slide my hands under the book Sakaki is carrying. Watch it. Don't take your hands off yet. The books are going to fall.
あなたの手が私の手に触れているのだけれど
Of course it is. Don't worry. My hygienic standards are higher than you might expect.
そういうことじゃなくて
He's such a douche, but I love it. You complain too much. Alright, I got a hold of him. You can let go.
少し無神経よあなた
That's so. Anyways, I'll gratefully read the books. When I finish one, I'll return it to the Sakaki collection. So, if you want to reread any of them, they'll be there in the library.
分かったそれじゃ私は失礼するわね
Yeah. Take a quick look at the titles of the books I'm holding. Sue Aki, Decisive Pudding Battle. Kamabata Takuru, Yesterday's Black Cat. Hiro Atsuko, The Exit of the Desert. Seno Takumi, Professor Takada's Dinner. Ethan Crow, An Insolent Woman. Shinome Kazuma, You Blew It, Omori. Although she reads quite a variety of genres and authors, it seems that Sakaki fundamentals the Wood units of the 6 books she passed me. 4 are mysteries. Come to think of it, I could easily see Sakaki sitting at a detective desk using her brains for a living. Ugh. Flipping open one of the books, I speak toward the shadow of the nearby pillar. Makina, how long do you plan on hiding there? Yeah, you found out. I'm not mad or anything. How about you just come out?
なんで私だって分かったのよさ
Dumbass. Boom. Okay. Your aura is too crude. I can sense you even when you're hidden.
そんなこと言われたの初めてなのよさ
I just said that for the hell of it. You were casting a shadow on the floor. I couldn't tell it was you from the height and the shaggy head.
隠れるにしても雑すぎってこと
Pretty much. Why are you hiding in the first place?
別に隠れてたわけじゃないのよさお兄ちゃんとユミちゃんのお話が終わるまでじっと黙ってただけなのよ
You don't get along with Sakaki?
そういうわけじゃないのよでもユミちゃんはきっと私のことあんま好きじゃないと思うのよさ
On the other hand, I'm pretty sure Sakaki said something like, I think Uru-san avoids me on purpose. You're in that state of mutual awareness. Well, I suppose that does happen sometimes. Sakaki, a guarded person who doesn't reveal her thoughts easily, a Makina, feels most secure when she's burrowed her way into someone's heart. Their personal comfort zone may be incompatible. Well, it's foolish to expect everyone to get along. A long time ago, I knew a guy who hated black people with a passion. Oh god. And nothing anyone said could get him to change his mind. Sakaki Yamoto, Risu Makina. There's no need to forcibly push them together. But in their case, maybe a mutual compromise is called for. I don't think Sakaki dislikes you, Makina. Sorry, so try not to hate her yourself.
別に嫌ってないし、ただなんていうか、何を話していいのかもわかんないし。
I see. Sorry, I got distracted by something on TV.
お兄ちゃんはどうやってあの気難しいユミちゃんと年頃な間柄になったんだ
Well, it's not like we're particularly close, but we have a common interest in books, so I guess that helped get things started. So dumb. Of course, I get the idea. Sakaki mostly views me as a little more than a convenient book disposal. After all, it's hard to say you're friendly with someone who scowls so bluntly just because your hands touch. Makina, do you have any hobbies?
趣味
Solo?
大抵一人で
That's not good.
なんでさ一人遊びってなんかちょっとエッチっぽくてよくない
Kind of lewd. Oh, what has this girl learned in her life? No. Also no.
あれ
At the company I worked at, solitary hobbies are fundamentally discouraged. They place a lot of stress on keeping up some form of communication with others. Therefore, when asked of someone, some of them just came up with a good, safe-sounding, conventional hobby like shogi or go. When the superiors reacted favorably to those answers, the end result was that hobbies column in the employee survey data record overwhelming number of shogi buffs. Although going with the flow is pretty much the defining Japanese characteristic, it's still some of a pathetic story. Well, having given them a nice safe hobby like reading myself, I guess I can't really say too much. Nothing, just talking to myself. Incidentally, once you're the one giving the surveys out, in other words, an executive type, the hobby of choice would be gardening, not something you can do when you're living out of a barracks.
趣味ってそんなに大事
Yeah, it's better to have some interest than not, even if they're really worthless. For example, the aforementioned employees and their wine, women, and song. Even then, if they can help you find a single common interest with someone, your hobbies are worthwhile. And social lubricant. Social lubricant. Okay. Well, that threw me through a loop. Even when they're worthless in every other respect. This is something I heard secondhand from a senior employee at my job, but sometimes you get cases like this. This is a story about a man who took a business trip to Gifu Prefecture. It was a group expedition with the purpose of field testing new equipment that had just been deployed throughout his company. At the time, the man in question was a new employee, not out of his training period. Nonetheless, he found himself taking a long, bumpy ride into the mountains on a company bus, accompanied by the chief of his special department. The man didn't have the first clue why he had been selected for the trip, let alone what he'd expected to do on it. To make matters worse, he was sitting next to a powerful superior he barely knew. In short, the man was ready to vomit from sheer terror and anxiety. He fought desperately to keep calm, but his face was pale as a sheet. The bus finally reached its destination at the foot of Mount Kinka in Gifu. After many unpleasant hours, but the man's relief was temporary, as his boss informed him he would be attending a large banquet in a high-class inn that night. Corporate banquets are basically a cruel kind of talent show. New employees were expected to perform some skill for the amusement of the gathered VIPs. The newbies from each department mounted the stage one after the other. Quite a few croaked out popular karaoke ballads with stiff faces, but there were also some pretty competent juggling acts. Even one stand-up comedy duo, which got some laughs during imitations of superiors. The man watched the other men acts with a fluttering heart. His turn was approaching fast, but he was basically a walking, breathing lump of artistic incompetence. Sorry, just my stomach's not agreeing with me. Okay. An asocial type without a single talent worth performing in front of others. Just as he was wondering whether he could escape by pretending a sudden illness, the man was practically kicked onto the stage by his senior employees. For a lack of better thought, he started to sing. But the man didn't know any popular songs. Worse, he couldn't remember the standard folk song or children's music that might have worked in a pinch. The man went instead with the theme song for a superhero TV show, Lightspeed General Makarov. This, of course, was the man's first time singing in public. He didn't have much of a voice. Within moments, he was showered in jeers from the audience. The hell are you singing? What's with you? Hey, asshole! Are you just making out that up on the spot? That's enough! Get off the stage, you suck! Although he wasn't the type to break down in tears, the man felt a deep urge to dig himself into a hole and crawl into it. Only sheer stubbornness carried him through the last of the humiliating note. When it was over, the man quickly bowed from the stage and raced back to his seat. On that walk back from the stage, the man had thought, I wish I had learned a popular song or two. Well, if you look at it that way, you're right, but the story isn't over yet. The equipment test wrapped up, the man had returned to his new assignment at the branch office in Shinjuku. Someone called out to him as he was dealing with a transfer paper. So you were the newbie who sang Daimakunov, right? Daimakunov at the banquet, and the man's breath caught in his throat. He figured out by now that the main job of his superiors was to flaunt their authority by picking the smallest mistake and then rubbing his nose in them. The messenger speaking to him was infamous for his zealous leadership and of his underlings. Frankly, the man was about ready to piss his pants. He swallowed and chewed his lips, bitter thoughts running through his head. What's he going to blame on me? How long will I have to grovel? I loved that show when I was a kid. The man blinked dumbfounded by this unexpected development. You? From Hiroshima, kid? According to the manager, 2 reruns were played relentlessly every day afternoon in the local station. Practically every child in Hiroshima grew up watching the show. But the man wasn't a Hiroshima native. In the area he lived in as a child, the Children Encore Theater program broadcast old episodes of the show every summer. He just happened to see a few. Even so, the manager must have been really pleased to find the fellow Daimekan Ruffin as he began to pull a few strings to the man's benefit. One night after work, the man returned to his bed in the company dorm to find a white plastic bag that had been tucked underneath the sheets of his neatly made bed. He didn't remember putting it in there himself, but when he asked around, nobody else knew where it came from. The bag contained a huge jelly roll and a couple bits of ramen. As a new employee, the man had to eat dinner at a set time, 5 p.m. Set time of 5 p.m. By 10 p.m., lights out at the dorm. All the trainees would be starving. The supplement meal was therefore very considerate present. The man had an idea who was responsible, most likely his Daimakanarov buddy at the top. Could easily have pulled it off. On top of the early dinner time, learning the ropes as a trainee was particularly tiring. Had probably figured he had a hard time getting his young body to fall asleep with an empty stomach. The man actually didn't have a particularly big appetite and wasn't the type to be troubled by irregular meals. But then again, as a new employee, he didn't have much money he could spend freely on snacks and such. A little sugar was extremely welcome. If I could get caught, they would punish too. Sorry. Give me a second. Ugh. Alright, I did close my door. Okay. So the man split smuggled food with other trainees into his room, and they all devoured their snacks greedily. As the presents from his Dominican buddy at the time, they were known as Daimakarov Supply Drop continued. The talentless, quiet, and hobbyless triple threat contender for the asocial crown suddenly found himself getting along with the group in the dorm, all thanks to the Daimakanarov connection. And 3 months later, when the man's training period came to an end, it was once again who recommended him to get assigned to the Chiba branch office he'd hoped for. In other words, when it comes to hobbies and interests, anything is fine. Finding friends you can talk about some common interests is really a valuable thing. Sometimes something that small can be a trigger for getting a huge leg up in life. That's the moral of the story. I thought this was a pretty meaningful story. I guess it didn't quite get across. Well, more or less, when you're young, you should mess around with all sorts of things. Just try to find something that grabs you, even if it's stupid crap. After all that spacing out, that's a pretty sharp question. I glanced down towards the pile of barrel books I'm holding in my hands. I suppose right now I don't have anything other than reading that qualifies. You aren't really listening to a word I'm saying. To a word I say, are you? Well, not to say that you need to. Go get a mane to make you something. Yeah, if I'm in the mood. I see. I learned my own lesson from this conversation. If there's a mention of food in the middle of a story, Makina won't remember another word. I'll have to be more careful next time.